Welcome, welcome to the journey of Grandiasha. We've returned after a week break for personal reasons. We are back. We are back to rolling dice. And we are back with the journey of Grandiasha. So, welcome. We're all happy to have you. Welcome to the Will-O-Wisp Woods, as usual. Always happy to have you all surrounding the campfire here to listen to the Will-O-Wisp stories. This week's story continues from last time, as our wonderful players had a few interesting and emotional interactions with each other. A few learning more about others than known before, and a few others learning more about themselves than they had known before. Now, with our group together once again, and our wonderful players finishing up their emotional interactions, the awkward silence has now managed to grip our wonderful group as May has begun to walk off with her hood up after Nyla had gotten clocked for making a certain deal without Dwindle's knowledge. And now, with Dwindle's knowledge updated to the rest of the party's current information, he now understands what this group is really here for. Now, with no other choices and seemingly no other paths that they could take, our group has decided to befriend, or at least chit-chat, with a certain dark elven bartender. As the group... Oh boy. There he goes. Back to normal. Wonderful. As May wanders off, the only question I have for the rest of the group is, do you follow?
Yeah, but at a little bit of a distance.
Okay.
Give her a little bit of space. But close enough to be back up if necessary.
Confused. I thought Odd was going somewhere else as well.
No. Odile was originally next to May and tugging on their shirt to tell them that this group had no right to be down here because this wasn't their world. And May said if it was Odile's world, she wouldn't have ran. I actually went back and watched the episode, or I watched a little bit of the ending of the episode at least. So, Odile,
And after
Nyla,
that
and James are together.
After that comment, I just went.
Sorry, Odile,
Yeah.
Dwindle,
I can't wait to
and
see this.
Nyla are together. And May has begun wandering off.
Before exiting the alley completely, May's gonna make sure she's not in monster form. She's gonna take off her cloak, put it in her bag, and take her hair down. So it's not up. And then she's gonna make her way towards the bartender.
Okay. So Nyla says that she's following at a bit of a distance. What are Odile and Dwindle doing?
problem
Odds
is to
back
stay
being
put to the
quiet.
point. It's just like, oh,
Odds back to being quiet.
yeah. You just gotta just look down at the
They
berry.
basically just made herself a dissonance, so she's like, oh, mm-mm.
So is the Odile following?
Nah. Odd just sits on Robon.
We're splitting the party again.
So,
Odd's not running though. She's not going anywhere. She's just sitting on Robon. And she kicked Garbodor off Robon too.
I'm a dog.
He's but a child.
Keep in mind you all had wandered off from the bartender to go check out the tower. So you're actually a decent distance. So if Odile is staying behind, she would know that she's going to be by herself.
In the middle of the underground. Swarmed by people around. In an alleyway. By herself. Our Garbodor got kicked off the thing. So now he's running around. Because I don't think Nyla took him.
Apparently not, but she's trying to be stealthy, so.
It's
And probably
We assumed that Odd was still taking care of him.
Odd will just look at Dwindle then and be like, pull her head towards Nyla. It's like, going or not going?
Going home is sounding better and better. But we better follow. What do you
This
think?
hood back up. Picks up the weed by the back of its neck. Flops it back down.
The back of his stem.
Stem.
Little dude ain't got no neck.
It got no net.
Little man's ain't got no neck. He just got petals and a stem and some leaves. But so everybody is beginning the trek back towards the bartender. Making your way back, the strange air that floats just above the ground, that purple mist, still settles upon the stone pathing at your feet. Ow! Anyway, still settles among the stone pathing below your feet. You all continue through the crowd. The tism was tisming for a moment. The crowd, as you attempt to keep a slight distance from other people, but other people also try to keep a slight distance from you all. Nobody wanting to touch each other in the possibility of pickpockets and such bumping into you and snapping, or at least nabbing something that you find precious. But there seems to be a practice of honor among the people you pass, as they all give each other at least half a foot's distance. Or at least attempt to when they can.
I dare somebody to bump into me.
Dwindle's getting a good foot and a half. Pointy. But you continue your walking. Every time! I'm not even tired! I'm tired of my own voice. You all continue down the path, passing other people who seem to be scouring the different shops and stalls. And you find yourselves once again before this grand and open bar. As the long bar wraps around the pillar of stone, and from the stone juts a large, familiar now, skeleton that hangs different weaponry from its bones. The dragon. And behind the counter, one dark elfin male who stands there, still cleaning a glass, yet at the same time keeping up with orders going on around him. Pouring different drinks, mixing different drinks, and creating different drinks as people order them, setting them in front of them. Every time. Setting them down in front of them before returning to his cleaning his glass.
May's gonna approach. Making sure that there's steps on her side. So he doesn't see the cloak or anything. Excuse me, good sir.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I'm sorry.
Did you need something?
Yes.
His glossy, pure black eyes look to May from his glass. Still pitch black, but he smiles ever so slightly still. His hand careening in and out of the glass depending on where he's deciding to wipe it.
I wanted to
Sound the gifting panic alarm! You need to find.
You see, I'm trying to get something done, and I know that the person to talk to is you about the dark, the what did we call him before? I'm so sorry. The prince dude.
The Dark Prince.
Out of character, the dark prince. About getting an appointment with the dark prince.
That depends on what you're needing. What are you needing from the Dark Prince? Are you wanting a favor? Are you wanting to ask him for something in return for something else? Are you wanting to pledge your fealty to him? What are you needing?
I'm looking for sanctuary.
Not exactly a new one, but interesting enough. Is that all you're looking for?
I have a couple other requests, but I don't know if they can be fulfilled by just me.
Well, I'm sure if he can't fulfill them, one of his handlers can. However, I do have to ask. Where did you learn where to ask?
What did I learn? What do you mean? Weren't we supposed to find somebody who could fulfill large requests?
There's a difference in finding somebody who can fulfill large requests and finding the Dark Prince.
Unfortunately for you, I've got great ears. As you know I was asking about the doctor the last time that I came in here, and I have great ears, and if you could not tell me, I could listen in to others. You were just the shortest option.
I'll keep that in mind, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes narrow slightly, but he then smiles as he then turns over to the side, seemingly looking to something behind the counter as he kind of leans over and looks to what may be one of the shelves under the top of the bar. He then looks to you. How soon are you expecting to see the Dark Prince?
As soon as possible, I'm willing to pay.
Well, our wonderful royal has a rather malicious tooth for greed. How much are you willing to pay?
May's gonna take the bar she's holding in the cloth, and she's gonna put it on the counter.
That might get you through the door.
I have other money to pay for whatever services I acquire with him.
I doubt he'll ask you for any more money. A favor, depending on what you're asking him, but for the most part, other than his natural urges towards greed, he's not a very wanting man, so I'm sure you'll be fine. He then places his hand on the cloth and just slowly slides it towards his side of the counter.
Is there anything else that I should know or do?
The only question I have left is, are you taking your friends?
Just one.
If that's your choice.
Will it cost more to bring them?
No.
No? Very well. I guess I shall take all of them.
Hmm.
They aren't much trouble, usually.
Even if they are, they won't last long if the prince deems it necessary to get rid of them. I will ask that you all lay your hand on the counter, though.
Right, May's gonna look back and see if they're following them. If they're following her, because I don't think she would.
Should we roll stealth?
Completely up to you all.
I'm gonna roll stealth.
I have not rolled stealth. I don't.
I don't think Gwendolyn can roll stealth.
That's not. That's big both. No, that's not gonna happen.
18.
No.
Hmm.
Well, May can't see Nyla.
Where's the one that I wanted to come?
If you could hold off for a moment, I can go get them. I unfortunately do not know where they have wandered off to.
That's fine. You've already paid. If you wander off without the mark, then that's your own choice.
Valid. Okay. Gonna go try to investigate around, see if I can find any of them.
Well, I mean, Dwindle and Odile aren't stealthing. You just can't find Nyla. She's the only one of the group that's just gone.
We're right there. We're just...
feel a hand on your shoulder.
Peekaboo.
Oh! So we have a way to meet with the prince. We need to get the mark though. So if you wouldn't mind, please follow me to the bartender. Thank you.
Okay.
And she's gonna go back and put her hand on the counter.
That's like, not how it's gonna work. Not anywhere.
Is everybody putting their hands on the counter?
Mm-hmm.
Jane, Dwindle, Odile. May's gonna turn around, grab Odile, pick her up, put her down next to the thing, grab her hand, and put it down on the
Looks down at the Rhodobot.
Didn't you did not just do that.
The massive strength difference is also kind of funny.
You are
And then May's
So
gonna like
much
back
trouble.
her in, and so May's put her other hand on the other side of Odile because she's so short. So like May's got her hand holding Odile's hand down, and she's got her other hand on the other side, so Odile can't. back
I'm
away.
just gonna tip her head back into May's ear. I am going to get you when we go back up. Don't know if it'll be your hand. Don't know if it'll be your foot. But I'm going to get you.
I am terrified.
You should be.
I'm sensing sarcasm, Eddie says from off to the side.
I'm gonna give a glare at Eddie, like,
What? I'm not here.
I don't think she got it, so thank you, Eddie.
So, May, Odile, and Nyla place their hands on the counter, and Dwindle is too as well. Okay. Everybody has their hand on the counter. You all watch as the dark elven bartender seems to pull a small piece of wood and set it onto the counter, and you notice that it's a square that seems to curve up, and it comes to a handle, but the bottom and the base actually looks like a separate piece. And you notice that he takes his hand and he grabs the base, but then he grabs the handle with the other hand and pulls it apart. And you notice it's a stamp with a very interesting sigil on it. He then seems to quickly slam this stamp onto the back of each of your hands. And you notice that the ink creates a very beautiful sigil on the back of your hand of what looks to be a circular swirl with one glowing green eye in the center. And then this sigil seems to slowly sink into your skin before disappearing. He then places the stamp back into its base and places it back under the counter before returning to his cleaning his glass. He looks to each of you and he smiles with his pitch black eyes still kind of just dancing between you all. Have fun speaking with the Dark Prince. If you want an escort, that sucks. But if you go to the tower and you walk to the front door and knock, someone will greet you.
Do we have to worry about the columns?
With that sigil on your hands, no. Without it, well, I don't think any of you could run fast enough.
Thank you for the assistance.
Just doing my job. Have fun.
It's gonna elbow her.
May's gonna take her hand off. As soon as, like...
She's at perfect height for, like, lower abdomen as well.
And so, it's done.
Very well.
To the Black Gate.
I guess we can go through the door finally without those things getting us. Perhaps this time.
Yeah, it seems a good possibility this will actually work. Just try it.
Better be. Paid a lot. Thank you, Wendell. Are we ready? Should we do anything? Sorry, by the way, Odio.
Besides full night's rest? No, I think we're good.
We're fine. Okay. We'll go back to the tower.
Okay. You all make your way back to the tower, and you find yourselves once again at the mercy of this large circle. At the base, between the tower and this group of people, there's still a solid 60 to 70 feet of space that people give this tower. And you stand at the edge of this outer circle of people that walk around the entire sphere. Uh-oh.
We lost our dwarf.
There he is!
Various.
Anywho. Anywho. You find yourselves at the edge of this outer circle of people, looking in towards the tower that stands tall. The only entrance is a set of double doors at the base, as the large tower leads up to a large orb of purple liquid that bubbles and gurgles overhead. A branch leading out to a second orb, also surrounded in this strange liquid. Who takes the first step? Nyla, mirroring the last time you had attempted this, you take a step out, another, and another, and where originally the golems stopped their patterns and turned to intercept, you look around as you cautiously step forward and find the golems no longer seem to pay you any mind, ignoring you entirely, it seems.
I think it worked.
Thank goodness. Anyways, come on. I lost her. Okay, back up the other two. Did you want to knock or do you want me to?
I could do it.
Knock, knock, knock.
You knock on the wooden doors. Well, I say wooden. I was looking at something. You knock on the metal doors, and there's a loud echo on the other side that you can hear. Now keep in mind this tower isn't small. It echoes rather loudly. And now that you're up close to the tower, you realize that it's pretty thick all the way around. A few moments pass. A few more. A few more. Before finally you hear the door creak open. And on the other side, an old man seems to open the door. Has one eye missing as a small scar seems to run down from just above his eyebrow down to right where his cheekbone starts. And you notice that he has a very clean and well-kept mustache that ends in 2 points, and a goatee that comes down to a very sharp point at the bottom. He has a monocle over the other eye that still works. And you notice that along his collar, there are a number of other scars that seem to trail off under his well-kept and unwrinkled suit. His butler's outfit. You notice as he steps aside, opens the door further, and welcomes you in. You see his hands are covered with pure white gloves that form fit to his hands. And just above his wrist, where his gloves end to where the wrists of his suit begin, you notice what look like burn marks. However, he doesn't say a word. He seems to simply welcome you all in, quietly. Who's the first?
Thank you.
We're here together.
Hmm?
We're here together.
Oh, no, that was me as a DM asking who's first to step in.
I'll go first.
May is gonna step aside for the other two. To go in first. I don't trust you. You particularly.
Yes, oh, I just need one friend.
You're you.
So, you step in, and you realize this place is dark. You look into this tower as you step in, and you look around, and you can see two staircases that curve up into a second floor balcony that seems to stick out ever so slightly. But you notice that pillars hold this second story balcony up, and a matching set of stairs seem to mimic the same ones going to a third, and then a fourth. And these floors go up still, another two, before you notice one large staircase that seems to hang in the center, quite literally, as four walkways from each side of the balconies at the very top seem to come to a center circular portion in the center of this room, and a spiral staircase leads up into what looks like the orb that you had seen from outside. The door closes behind you all as you step in, and you, now inside, can see what appears to be cat's eyes in the shadows nearby, before you hear a very low growl, followed by the sound of claws against the marble floor, as what seems to be a very large and very well canined, massive cat steps forward. Two tails, two sets of front legs, and a set of back legs, as the claws seem to ever so slightly click and scratch against the marble as it steps. It lowly growls louder and louder before the butler then steps forward, staring at it with his one good eye as he walks by, and the large cat seems to take a step back. And for a moment you could swear you see three of them, as its body seems to almost vibrate and shift, causing two after images to appear on either side of it, before it then seems to settle as it sits. It continues to growl as you walk by, But it seems the butler leads you all forward still. He leads you up one of the sets of stairs. The clicking of his well-dressed, or his well-kept dress shoes and their metal soles click against the marble stairs as he walks up. You're all led further up, further up. 2 floors you go up before you are led to a set of double doors made of a beautiful dark wood. And he then pushes them open, and you see inside is what seems to be a conference room almost. It almost looks like the war room that you've been in previously with the explorers to speak about what was to come from the old house that they had set up. However, this one is much cleaner, much more well kept. Nicer woods, nicer leathers, and you see beautiful candelabras set in the center of the table with a large chandelier that hangs from the ceiling. Along one of the walls is nothing but a massive bookcase, and at the other end of this room is a massive fireplace that seems to crackle and snap as a fire has been set. In one of the corners, another one of these strange cat creatures lays curled up until it hears you all step in, and its head raises for a moment before the butler simply holds out his hand, palm down, and the creature lays back down. It yawns before its eyes close as it seems to continue the nap it was having. The strange man then seems to turn to you all. Please have a seat. The young master will be with you all shortly.
When the prize is yummy, but
Please feel free to read as you wait if you wish. He is currently preoccupied with other things. He should be here shortly.
Thank you. Is May? Can I roll? I don't know what I would roll. Do I recognize any of these things? The cats?
Any of what?
The cats?
The cats.
Anything? Do I ever? Would I?
That's a good question.
Any history on that?
Nature or history, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, both to see. I'll do history, and then I got a 17.
17. Mm-hmm. Well, the question now is whether or not you actually know of these creatures, because very little is known of these creatures. Roll a D100 for me. I forget that May's character has a decent history.
72.
72? Alright. From what little you've seen, it's difficult to figure out exactly what they are, but you do have a general idea, as there are very few creatures that actually match what this creature seems to be giving off. 6 legs, 2 tails, and somehow it's vibrating. There's only really one creature that seems to come to mind, and there's so little known about these creatures because of how difficult it is to spot one. But there are a few that have traveled to the Feywild that have managed to spot one or two. For a fleeting moment, at least. These creatures, displacer beasts, are extremely rare. Extremely deadly, in all honesty. And they are very much solitary creatures.
Okay. Going to.
I rolled for fun to see if Odd would have seen one in Feywild. Not to know what it was, just to see a glimpse of it.
Roll a
Yeah, I'm just saying,
D100.
would Dwindle know
Just-
any of these?
I just want to see if she saw like a glimpse of it.
Has
As
Dwindle ever
one-
read?
I'm more referring to that these scenes
No,
are also normally down.
That's a 29. That's
in the Underdark. So maybe you heard a tale or two. I don't. From other dwarves who've gone deeper down. Who knows?
Well, Dwindle's never left Flemenbroth, and he doesn't read much. Roll a D100. What did Odile get for her D100?
29.
29?
61. No, just actually that's a 10. That's a 60.
Beautiful. Look, if I knew, I would have solved the problem earlier today. If I had known, I would have solved it. Fucking annoying. Ow. 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 Okay. We're back. Beautiful. Anyway. So, sadly, Dwindle and Odile have actually never heard of these creatures either. So Odile and Dwindle have no idea what they are. However, every now and then they seem to shimmer and vibrate as their body seems to begin moving left and right. And it looks like there's 3 of them for a moment, before it then seems to settle back into the center even just laying there on the floor where this large creature looks like it's taking a nap, it's almost like it's shifting and moving so fast that it literally is 3 different creatures for a moment before settling back into one.
Seems like we're gonna be here for a moment, so he's gonna pick up a book and sit far away from the creatures.
Roll a d100.
15.
15.
Mhm.
You pick up a book, and you look at the cover, and you see that the book that you've picked at random reads on the title, The History of Gorleton, the City of Cities.
Why does that name sound familiar?
It's the main
Sort of.
city.
Hmm.
Oh, that's the one that we're. Okay.
It's one of the biggest capital cities
Ah,
around. It's its capital city of a different country.
No, it's the same country.
The same.
It's a different region of the country.
East
Yeah.
Grandiasha.
It's one of the 2 capitals of East Grandiasha.
Is that called a region then, or a state?
It's a region.
Yeah.
Region and state are basically the same thing because of the fact that the states are really just regions that have been, split up amongst themselves. It's like how you have the states of East and West Grandiasha. Or you have the regions that are the East and West Grandiasha, depending on who you ask. Each region is basically just ruled under different kingdoms based on how they've split up the continent.
Todd's gonna turn to Eddie and just mouth the words, "Don't touch any books."
You look over, Eddie has already gotten 2 books.
Odd's gonna just quickly just like grab them, just pretending she's like holding them, like, and putting them back.
Dwindle is just gonna look down to the bag. I was gonna grab one of the books at random.
Out of your own bag of holding?
Yeah,
One
I
of-
have like 20 books from the
so
library.
many books.
A lot of them magic, so like, I'm just gonna grab one of the random books. 85. I grabbed one of the magic books.
Do you?
Well, judging that she pointed out books that were magical, Nyla did. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't think I found that many that were magical. I would have gotten a lot of other ones that interested me, but they wouldn't.
They're magic to
They're
Dwindle.
not what I wouldn't have picked up ones that you think.
They're magic to Dwindle. Like, I'm gonna become one of the first dwarf wizards.
That would be a very interesting multi-class for Dwindle of all people.
I cast a single spell. Oh no, I'm out of spell slots. Guess I have to do this the
Oh no, I just
old-fashioned way.
created magic. I was also gonna grab a random book off the shelves and go sit next to me.
I'm actually curious, does Dwindle actually have the intelligence to actually multi-class? Wizard.
I genuinely believe in the idea that you don't need prerequisites to multiclass because of the fact that I find it much more funny for a wizard to be absolutely fucking stupid. You're going to hit like ass, but it's going to be funny when you hit.
The best way to do it.
I think it'd be better if he became a sorcerer instead. It'd be funnier that way.
Or a warlock.
I'm just saying, if you no matter what you multiclass as, if you multiclass into something like a sorcerer or something like that, I'm going to make it make sense. I want you to know that now.
If
However.
anything, it'd be a paladin or cleric. That's what makes the most sense.
Wild Barbarian has some advantages, I'm just gonna say.
Don't worry. If you plan on going into cleric, I'll give you a reason.
No space.
I have so many ideas. Don't even start.
Don't make me become an Oath of Vengeance, Oath of Vengeance paladin here.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. You just let me know which one you prefer. Nonetheless, Nyla, I'd like a D100 from you as well. Dwindle, you pick out a
got
book
it.
at random, and I love you. I really do. You rolled the D100, and I rolled the D20 to figure out which book you got from the small list.
For my own bag. Okay, let's see what you got.
I'm just saying that book did not come from me.
What is it?
Oh, 24.
A 24?
Uh-huh. No, I'm just saying the book that picked out of the bag is not one that came from me.
Picks up the book, looks at it.
The cover of your
Elf
book,
and
Dwindle.
axe.
That's a lot better than what I was originally going to say.
What'd you say?
This shows a dwarf and an elf.
Yeah?
He's just looking at it. That's a weird combo they're fighting.
Sure.
Opens it up.
The axe among the trees.
That's better. It's horrible.
The axe among the trees, and the depiction on the front of this leather cover is what looks to be a massive tree that goes up, and basically the top half of the book's cover is like foliage and stuff like that, where the etching of the wording has been placed into the leather, but sitting at the base of the tree is a dwarf that's fallen asleep leaning against an elf with a book, and in the tree side is the dwarf's axe.
Is it a children's book?
No.
Like, it's like a book we give the dwarf children. Like, hey, here you go. You see, elves can't be friends.
No, this is definitely not a book for kids. Definitely not.
You got this from the library in the castle, right?
Uh-huh.
This
That's
is
Eddie how it is.
Judging about from the other books I had, yes. I don't know which library section I was in, but okay.
The whole library. I'm just going to give you the knowledge now. That library may have just been Eddie's.
Just gonna read a bit into it, and then look up at Eddie.
Don't look at me. I enjoy what I enjoy, alright? Leave me alone.
Both books I've chosen from your library have been... Oh.
I enjoy what I enjoy. Don't judge me for my hobbies.
I'm just gonna leave the book here wide open so you can read. I'm just gonna note. I'm going to. He's going to grab another book.
D100 for me.
A 7.
Oh!
Odd will grab that book and hold it so Eddie can read it.
With a
So
7.
you have 2 in your hands?
It's
Too many in my
007.
hands.
Eddie has
Sorry.
put the other 2 up now to read the one that
Well, no, I
Dwindle has
put the
up.
other 2 up because
Oh.
I grabbed them out of his hands.
Okay.
So I'm trying to hide the fact he's there.
Okay. I thought you were holding them for him. Alright, well, since he wasn't able to read those 2, he has decided to read this one instead. And he goes, oh, I actually really enjoyed this one. Hold on.
Just looks up. Just give me a summary later.
And because of the 7 that you rolled, Dwindle, this time, you find yourself picking out a book that actually isn't decorated as the other ones are. This one you find that when you pull it out, it has a much thicker binding, and it has 2 metal rings that kind of decorate the spine by wrapping from one side of the bend to the other on the top and bottom of the spine. And on the front is what looks like a compass, but it's not a compass. It's just a circle with 4 spikes, one on each side. Top,
So it's an
right,
arrowhead.
left, bottom. And then you have in the center a smaller circle, and within that circle you notice what looks to be a sigil of some kind.
Alright, people go. I want to thumb this quickly. This would be really good forever. So, yes. Title?
It doesn't have one.
Alright. Starts reading. Or
You open it?
tries to.
And it's almost impossible. It honestly kind of like starts to give you a slight headache when you read it for a little too long, all of 30 seconds. But giving yourself a moment pause and then going back at it, you're able to kind of slowly intake the information of the symbols and what appears to be some kind of arithmetic of some kind, and the strange art of sigils and practicings of these lists of ingredients and things like that, and certain motions drawn in. It's very interesting to say the least, but it's very confusing, and you're not entirely sure why anybody would understand this gibberish. However,
Does he know it's a spell book?
does he?
No, that's a 4.
Then he has no idea.
He's
No.
not gonna look. He's not gonna stop. He's gonna keep looking at like. I don't understand this. This must be a puzzle book. Here it is.
Makes perfect sense. Nyla, you rolled a minute ago, and I didn't get to tell you what you had opened up. You found a book on the shelf.
24.
Yep.
Yes.
A good old 24. 24.
You know what's better than 24? 23.
You know what's better than 24? 25. SpongeBob! So, I'm going to say this now, as a DM. Whenever you're picking out books or things like that, I have you roll a D100, and then based on that, I do a D20 on my side. And based off of your roll, you get what kind of book it is, and then based on my roll, I tell you basically how helpful it is in that genre, no matter what it is, whether it be, you know, one of Eddie's smut books or like James's current puzzle book, May's, History of Golden book. I rolled a natural 20 for you, Nyla.
Ayo. On it.
Yeah.
Should be interesting.
You pick out a book, and it looks well kept, very well kept, like almost brand new well kept. And you notice that the spine itself is not one solid piece going down. You notice it's scales that go down the side. And on the front, you notice that there is a decoration that immediately catches your eye, as it's almost like a sigil. It almost looks like a sun with, the different arms reaching out in a circle, kind of swirling, kind of like how we would draw suns as kids, where it has the center and then the little swirl arms going out, kind of wrapping around in one direction kind of thing. Except the swirling arms are not arms. As you look closer, they're actually etched in designs of dragon heads. And along the top of the book cover, you read The Ancient Bloods.
I'll try and find information about the one that we're looking for, if this is about dragons.
You open it up, and you notice that the book itself is very informational, as it seems to be a conglomeration of notes and journals and information of any kind on dragons. You notice that it almost looks like academic sketches that detail different heads, different bodies, the different shapes that these dragons seem to take physically based off of their environments and such, and their bloodlines, as each dragon is different. And just flipping through, you can see the different sketches, and you see the different types of dragons. And reading through it is probably going to take quite a bit of time, as it seems to be a collection of different notes of different studies of these people who have tracked down and studied dragons at different stages of life, it seems. You're not entirely given all information about it, of each dragon, because each dragon seems to have different amounts of information based on how welcoming they were to giving that information to whoever was giving these notebooks their scribbles. It appears that some dragons have more information, some have much less, some have none, funny enough. There's a few sketches of certain dragons, but some just don't have any information at all. White dragons specifically have no information whatsoever. There's a few sketches of them, different sizes, different ferocities, but no information on them other than that. However, you do notice that there is quite a bit on gold dragons. There's quite a bit on brass dragons. There's quite a bit on blue dragons and silver dragons. And you notice that there is quite a bit on green dragons. There is no information on white dragons. There is a little bit of information on red dragons. There is a very small amount of information on black dragons. And the rest of the dragons are scattered bits of pieces of information here and there.
Hey May, what are you reading?
It's about Quarrelton.
Is it any good?
It's city's history.
You want to see what I'm reading?
Sure, what are you reading? I'm sure May's just gonna close the book and
About dragons.
dragons.
Was there anything in particular that might be especially useful to look up in here while we're here?
Well,
Also, should I try to steal it for later? Cause I'm down.
might have I was gonna look at the kitty cats.
Has the book
And,
turned completely horizontal now? So horizontal is now vertical. I would be quiet about saying anything about stealing. Just saying. Here's
Maybe don't steal.
Exactly. Good for your soul.
Sure.
Wait,
Oh wait, that was completely out of character, but yeah.
Anything about the red dragon at all, or even like the gold one here that Odil's popping is made from?
How much time do we have?
I was just gonna tilt her head and just tilt back.
Honestly, you all have been sitting here looking at books and trying to find books and kind of skimming through your books for the last 15-20 minutes.
Maybe I should just hang on to it. Although we can just kind of look through until whoever comes.
Valid.
Or maybe I should sneak it into Bundle's bag of holding, because it may not be trackable in there.
Closest thing you can ask.
Oh, I'm doing this as quietly as possible. I'm not trying to let Bundle over here.
Yeah, Dwindle.
I have a passive perception of 15.
Do you want me to roll stealth?
Are you
I'll
being
roll stealth.
sneaky?
18 in stealth.
Passive, yeah, 14, not 15. One off, but still.
Should I do his bag? I'm gonna try to sneak this book
Is
into
he
Bundle's
looking?
bag of holding.
I'm you beat my passive, so
Should I sleight of hand it though, since he's probably holding on to it?
I'm holding on to the book.
Are we forgetting the big desktop that's in the room with us?
Turns the page to the next spell. Oh, it expands.
It's a maze.
Give him a crayon. I will ruin this entire spell book. Hours upon hours of drawing
Hey, Dwindle.
ruined. Yes.
Roll a d100 for me.
Full
From
34.
accidentally becoming a sorcerer.
You got a 34?
Oops.
You said 34?
34.
Highs or lows?
Lows. It's a rainy day. Cold day.
Hey, Dwindle.
Mhm.
Does Dwindle touch any of the sigils or anything like that on the inside of the book?
Yes, obviously.
Okay. I was just curious. Genuine question. Are you planning on multiclassing him into a caster of any kind? Just curiosity.
No, it was not really. I mean, the only one I can really think about like that would make sense, stat wise, that actually could work is a druid. But that's a stretch because wisdom. It's only wisdom.
I was just curious.
And sorcerer, my charisma is way too low. It's a 10, so I'm like, he would be a good one. Paladin would just make the most sense out of all of them, or cleric.
I was just curious.
Forge, cleric, let's go, let's do it. I will make my AC higher, which is terrifying.
It's up to you. I'm just asking questions.
Thoughts for the future. Could be fun.
Well, I can safely say that when Dwindle touches one of the sigils, you notice that, and keep in mind, the rest of you don't see this, but Dwindle, you touch one of the sigils as he's, skimming, reading, touching to get an idea of them. One of them alights like fire for a moment as it traces out the entire sigil before the fire then seems to form in the center as a humanoid eye, and the iris itself is like a molten orange color with specks of yellow, almost like lava or fire, before it then dissipates entirely and the book returns to normal.
Looks at his hand, looks there. Is there any typical dwarven, there is dwarven clerics normally. The test, where they test for people with aptitude for magic.
Well, considering Flammenbroth is not that big into magic, there's not really a test for an aptitude towards magic. There are those that awaken it on their own that they use as enchanters, but beyond that, not many are actually tested to see if they have any pull towards magic. Considering most of them would rather forge or fight or strengthen themselves. There aren't many people like Hiccup that are like, yeah, no, I want to learn magic as a dwarf instead. No. In Dwarven society, most of the time, you're kind of pointed at and laughed if you want to learn magic rather than learn how to forge a blade.
book nose is a common one that we say. I gotta roll now. Gosh dang, this is a big roll. Highs or lows, Lance?
24! What the fuck?
Huh.
Well,
What did you say, Lance?
I say highs.
First off, 69. Nice. So it's literally like, yeah, screw you. I'm like, huh. Starts thinking possibly of, well, the DM will allow full remodel into becoming a paladin. Maybe.
So the way I see class changes like that is if it makes sense, it makes sense. I don't believe in the idea of like a caster changing from like a level 7 bard into a level 7 sorcerer or a level 8 sorcerer, because bards get their magic from their music and their talent, whereas sorcerers get it from their bloodline. So you can't just, magically change where your magic comes from unless you can genuinely make it make sense. Like, you can't go from, oh, I'm a bard to, oh, I'm a warlock now, or I'm a warlock. Oh, never mind, I'm a paladin. Can't do that. And I don't believe in the idea of, like, a full caster going to a martial class. Like, you can't go from warlock to barbarian. That doesn't make any sense. However, there are classes like fighter that I do believe are starter classes. They're classes that can develop into other classes based off of, merit, change of heart, change of how the character wants to be played, change of how the character sees the world, kind of thing. And depending on the situation, the character could change. It could go from a full level 7 fighter to a level 8 paladin, or a level 8 hexblade warlock, or a level 8 barbarian. Because if you really think about it, there are certain changes that you can do from class to class that make perfect sense. Barbarians can lose their rage and just become fighters. They learn to hone their skills and emotions better in battle. You can change from a fighter to a monk because, you get tired of using weaponry and your character wants to learn how to use these martial abilities in hand-to-hand combat instead. Stuff like that. That makes sense. And I believe that if you wanted to, and if you really want to take the stat hit, you could go from barbarian to paladin, because it's basically the exact same thing, but you're changing your rage to smites, basically.
Yeah, it's big. It's like. Story, maybe. Who knows? We'll talk about it later.
Mm-hmm. That's completely up to you, but you've had your little experience, so have fun with that.
Brenda's gonna look over side to side. No one saw it right.
Doesn't appear like anybody else's attention was grabbed.
He's going to close the book and put it into the bag and grab another book. And he's gonna look completely awkward doing it too. Actually, no, apparently does it pretty well. That's a 13, so he's
He's pretty average.
yeah, grabs just
Not as average as Dwindle can be.
and he's gonna remember that book for later.
So,
Oh yeah, fun thing, Lance, by the way. That hammer, that wonderful, wonderful hammer of mine.
mm-hmm.
I can apply smites to that.
Yes, you can. You can apply smites to any martial weapon. Any melee weapon.
And range.
Yeah, actually any weapon attack, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you could also apply it to ranged, if I'm not mistaken. No. No, it specifically outlines melee, which is why it kind of sucks, but also is kind of balanced, because then you're not smiting from 100 feet away.
I'll look into it, but I believe you actually can, based on certain. It has to be certain measures. I don't think it can be ammunition. I don't
Ammunition.
think you could. Don't believe it can be like arrows, stuff like that. But actual weapons, I believe you can apply. You still apply the smite to the. You apply smite to the weapon.
I have no
But
idea.
Then it gets weird because like you're thinking, why can't you do that to the arrow?
I'd have to look into it again, but I don't think you could do it with ranged attacks. I think it specifically outlines melee attacks. I think it's for that reason, because technically speaking, I don't think you can empower your attack from a range. But nonetheless, you pull out another book at random. No roll, you just pull out one of Eddie's smut books.
The loose collar. He's just looking at it. Again. And he's just gonna start stacking all the books just to start seeing which ones are smut, which ones are actually.
Oh, almost all of them are smut. There are like 4 of them that are actual like magic tomes, by the look of it.
And he's just gonna catalog them. It's like, okay.
Nonetheless, though, after about 45 minutes, 45 minutes of you all sitting here reading, waiting, you hear the doors open once again as the butler from before seems to open the door and hold it open.
Did I before
Question.
then successfully get that dragon book into the bag folding?
Yeah, he's stacking all the books too, so
Just add it in the pile.
just
Yes.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you got a pretty high sleight of hand, so...
I didn't roll sleight of hand, I just rolled
please,
stuff.
feel free. Sleight of hand is very much important in this situation.
Yep, no. 27.
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
good.
yeah.
Dwindle's just stacking second books, looks at it. Okay, count some, workism. I have one more than normal. Starts putting them all back down.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Close enough. Eddie probably put that one back at some point.
Just thinking, how did
especially
it get into
today.
my bag? Starts thinking about the bagman. I am going to change my mindset on this.
And the best part is nobody else has any idea about that in this party. But nonetheless, the doors open once again, and you see the butler once again, who steps in, and he looks around at everybody. I do ask that you all place your books up and have a seat. In a few moments, the Dark Prince will be here, and the young master will be speaking with you all about your requests that you have for him. Do you need anything before we get started?
No, you've been a great help, thank you.
He then turns and he leaves the room, the doors closing behind him once again. And you notice that as the doors opened and as he stepped in, the cat's head raised once again, watching him as he stepped in, watching him as he stepped out. The door's closing and its head lowering once again onto its paws.
Just hands the book back to Dwindle.
What are we gonna do if this isn't the guy?
No.
Shall
Miss
I ask for
Water.
my request?
Just thinking.
And
Well, simply, we just get information, we pay for the information, second, or we just make a contact.
if they are,
We'll do what we'll do. Swux. Trying to look as natural as possible. Still very determined to get this done.
Eddie
Very well.
ethereally sits in one of the chairs and puts his feet up on the table and leans back with his hands behind his head. The chair doesn't lean back with him, he's just leaning back through the chair.
dignified.
I have no reason to act like a prince anymore, so I'm just kind of chilling.
Comfortably.
Eddie.
He's not here.
Eddie. Whitey, this book's just wrong. It's just putting this book away. Whip and lash.
Hey. I told you before, don't judge me. Alright?
I am judging your standards, my friend.
And I'm saying don't. I like what I like.
It shows a picture front of the book. It's a drow whipping a man.
Wait. Hold on. What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You read what?
I have no preferences. I enjoy a little bit of everything. I'm just saying.
Guys,
May's
can
gonna
we-
reach for the book. And
Guys, can we talk about his books later? Please?
No, correction, he had a problem. Still looks like he has one.
how'd you get these? Like
I
this
knew
is
where
in
to
your
look.
library. Uh-oh. Respectable.
It helps when you're of
Flipping
noble
through the
blood.
pages. Huh? He did what? He put what where?
I'm just looking. He's just looking down.
Sits himself. And sits himself where? What do you and Mr. Finch do?
Just
They
hands the
stole the
book
show.
to Odd, and just walks away. Okay. This is good. This dark prince. This dark prince.
If I was alive, I would bet 5 shillings that this is not the guy.
There's not that many shillings.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of with you. So I'm not gonna bet.
Oh, come on, that just ruins the fun.
Fine, I'll bet.
I feel like you could bet a lot more against it and still just do it for the fun of it.
I'll bet you this, Eddie.
Well, I mean,
I'll
I'm
play
dead,
it
so I
along.
don't have any gold or anything like that anyway, so it's just...
Nope. One favor for another favor.
I can't really do favors either. I can't really leave
Yes, you
a
can.
certain distance from your little friend there.
No,
I
you
go up to Eddie. Bet you a secret for a secret.
Now that I'll do!
Okay, Eddie. If I'll take a bet on that bet. If you win, you get a secret from me. Actually, no. That's my.
You
win.
keep
That's
your
my
favorite
prize.
rock in your back pocket. It's not much of a secret.
I have a rock in my back pocket. Pulls out a rock. No wonder it hurts so much when he's sad.
Never mind. Anyway,
So wait.
You get a secret. Your reward if you win is I will buy you a new couple pairs of books for you to read.
There's.
I'm going to milk all of your wallets.
To be fair, what is in our wallets is mostly thanks to you, so.
Hold on. No takers taking notes on the biddings. Come back here. Okay. So Eddie is making the bet that it is not the guy we're looking for.
I like how we're doing this right when we're just like, yeah, no guys.
Okay, so
Everybody
Dwindle
was
is
like,
saying.
so if this is the guy, we all jump him, right? And Eddie's just like, I bet it's not.
I mean, I'm kind of like. Honestly, I doesn't think it is.
I don't think it is either. But he's just playing. He's just wanting.
I just wants to bet too, honestly.
He's just wanting.
Just wants to
I'll
play.
just make it interesting for Eddie here. He's
Yeah.
already dead. He needs motivation or entertainment.
I'm just saying, knowing this group's luck, we're gonna meet this guy, and it's not going to be who we're looking for.
That's my thoughts exactly. So I'm saying 5 books. It's a fair thing.
For me, it'll be a secret. Anybody else want to handle the betting?
I bet that if it's not him, that we are going to get information from him, but he will refuse information because that's what everybody likes to do, and he's going to be very cryptic about it.
Sounds about right.
Just thinking about it. The bet is if it's the guy or not.
Yeah. Do you think it's the guy or not?
It's yes or no.
High or low?
Purple.
Yellow.
No. I do not.
Okay, so
You're
you're
not-
on the side of Eddie.
Yes, I'm excited.
I mean, I'm on the side of Eddie too, but
Well, I think we're all
I
on the
just wanna-
side of Eddie here. I'm just betting to make
Yeah.
it interesting for him.
we just want to bet against Eddie. We're just like, we're gonna have fun with Eddie. Come on, let's have fun.
You know what? I'll bet that it is him then. That's to be different for you guys.
Okay.
Tim, so if
What
we
are you betting then?
lose-
What are you betting if you lose?
Oh,
I'm buying Eddie $5. That sounded good, Eddie?
if this isn't him, I will.
It looks to the butler.
The butler's not in the room, is he? I thought he left the room.
He did.
Okay.
Okay.
I think
I'm
James
like,
was
no,
just
I
doing it
wouldn't
funny.
I would not be talking to Eddie. I was like trying to make sure not to talk to Eddie in front of anybody.
I think James was doing it funny, where it's like,
Oh.
or he was making the joke of like, it's always the butler. If it's not the butler, it's the wife or husband.
Let me see your hands.
If not those two, it's then the uncle or aunt.
Let me see your hands.
And if
It's always a
not them, then
sister. It's
then
always a
the s-
sibling.
So then it's if it's not them, it's then the spoiled nephew.
I will.
Arson. Sorry.
I will answer any question you ask. So-
Oh, that's a big. We don't get the reward. This is Eddie and Odd.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I will answer any question.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. Nyla, do you want in? You're already about to lose your soul, possibly. You want in?
Might as well do it.
Sure, if he doesn't get it, have it.
What?
You're saying Eddie can have your soul?
It's not a thing to bet, but this is for
That-
ghosts. This is officially contracted. Don't do that.
No. Try something else, darling. Come on. We gotta change here on things
Eddie
here.
gets your body
This is nice
permanently.
practicing. This is nice practice. Come on, we're gonna nice practice this right now, okay? Let's try something else. Come on.
Completely out of character. I am totally so excited for this guy. Too. I've been listening to this entire conversation from this crowd.
Give the
It's not like
nice
this guy
man
has
your soul.
paranoia problems as it is with hello, look how many golems he has.
I know.
I guess I'll do the same as May.
Okay.
I'll answer one question.
Alright. The note taker has taken the note.
Wait, and you guys are giving secrets if we
I'm giving a secret.
So,
you're giving a secret.
So-
What is?
Yeah,
so
so
let me
if
get this right.
Eddie loses, he gives me a secret. I don't know what he gives to me
No,
though,
you're-
but
you're-
he
you're on-
answered
you're-
to you.
You're on Eddie's side, so it's not the guy.
No,
No,
but I'm still betting
I-
with him. I'm still betting against him. I'm just having fun with him.
Oh, so
I'm
it's
like,
just
yeah,
Eddie.
I don't-
Eddie just gets stuff.
Yes, basically, I'm like, yeah, I still agree. Yeah, it's not him, but I'm still gonna bet with you. Going, yeah, no. A secret for a secret. Let's go. Poor Eddie, if it is the guy, we're all just gonna slightly turn our heads, going, no. Poor Eddie.
I'm pretty much excited for us to owe Eddie information, and then we just get to have a
lore dump.
character development episode next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's true.
Mhm.
If this is the guy, Eddie, and we see tomorrow, you still got your books, buddy. Don't worry about it.
Look at
Let's
him,
go.
he's not worried.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Will,
I'm-
please do not end this episode before we know who if it is or not. Do not do that to us.
Please
Yes.
don't do it. Please don't do
Do
it.
not do that.
Start
No,
pushing through the
another way.
door. Go. Also, Eddie, prep work. I have potions ready. I got my combat stuff ready. I'm fine. I'm
I have
totally
all
not
but a
ready
few
to
HP
fight.
and my
I'm totally
invisibility.
not ready to fight a young adult dragon.
Eddie just kind of watches everybody as everybody just kind of goes back and forth, figuring out what they want to give Eddie if they bet against him, and what they get if they bet with him. And vice versa, of course, asking Eddie for certain things if they win, and Eddie asking for certain things. Oh, wait.
No.
Oh no.
It's,
There he goes.
it's not like Eddie discloses information to us normally for free anyways, so.
I'm sorry.
There he goes.
I'm the dungeon master.
Nonetheless. With everybody deciding what they want and what they will give, Eddie seemingly continues his sitting comfortably. Not worried one way or the other, it seems. And as the party finally settles, trying to wait patiently for this figure to enter, The doors open once again, and through them, a figure stands before them, hands behind his back, with scales that glisten. He stands at about 6'4", 6'5", with noble robes of purple and green. Long talons for claws, long talons for nails.
Hands back.
Mm-hmm.
Fun question, is this the Dragonborn that one of them bumped into earlier?
A long tail follows behind him as it slithers side to side. A long feral snout that ends with a row of teeth that can be seen outside his bottom jaw. A set of emerald green eyes that ever so slightly swirl in on themselves. The figure walks slowly alongside the table. The butler making his way over to the head of the table and pulling the chair out, the chair sitting in front of the fireplace. And the black dragonborn sits down, placing his hands on the table, interlocking his fingers, and scanning across each and every one of you.
His normal hands.
Yes.
This is a
Is this the
Dragonborn.
Dragonborn from earlier?
I would know what one of these stupid creatures look like.
Do I
Well-
recognize this dude?
You all did meet a dragonborn in Crestia.
Ice tooth.
This is Ice Tooth?
No,
No,
this
Ice
isn't.
Tooth.
Well,
This
my
isn't
mind
Ice
thinking-
Tooth, but you've
I
met.
was thinking Ice Tooth is like blue and.
Oh no,
ice.
he's white.
I was like, huh,
This one is a black
Different
dragonborn.
color.
that's worse.
It's a different color.
He does not smile. He does not grin. He seems very formal as he sits and he scans over each of you. It has come to my attention that you all wish to see me. If you have requests, I do hope that you have them planned out. And I do hope that you're not wasting my time or yours. And with that, our wonderful players get to decide how they wish to word each of their requests. As today's episode of the Journey of Grandiasha comes to an end.
Thank you. Thank you for doing as I requested, not making us wait to find out who came through the door. Thank you. Thank you.
Here's a little fun thing. Magic is a wonderful thing. That's all I'm gonna say.
That may still be him.
This is why.
But do
these
we
creatures
recognize
are-
him?
This is why
Nyla
these creatures are
recognizes him.
so
Yeah.
Terrifying.
So it is the guy from earlier.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
just wanted to make sure.
Maybe.
It's
Maybe.
like a shapeshifter, but worse.
Who knows? Nonetheless,
Oh,
You do.
we do.
you'd be right, I know. Nonetheless, I do hope that all of you enjoyed tonight's episode of the Journey of Grandiasha. Thank you for joining us on the journey. And thank you for joining us around the campfire as the Will-O-Wisps told their stories for tonight. Tonight's story of the Journey of Grandiasha was a wonderful tale of our players, of course, coming across the Dark Prince, the one that seems to have garnered their attention and has been said to have quite a bit of pull here in the Undercity. But for now, they'll have to figure out how they want to word their requests for next time. We will be sure to keep the fire roaring for you here. And remember that if you want to join us, follow the Fireflies, because you never know what stories they may have to tell. But we hope that you all will join us next time here in the Will-O-Wisp Woods. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.